Now, more of Illinois Rising, presented by the Illinois Opportunity Project, the only show directly addressing the problems and solutions for Illinois. Now, from AM 560, here's Dan Proft.
Dan back with Pat on this edition of Rising, and some fateful news this week. Not happy news, but you can't say it's unexpected news either. Takeda Pharmaceuticals is leaving Deerfield, taking 1,000 jobs with it. Actually, that was the report, but it's actually 1,700 jobs. They'd already pared 700 jobs from their headquarters in Deerfield, this Japanese pharmaceutical company, and now they're taking 1,000 jobs in their headquarters. They're moving it to Boston. You know, low-tax Massachusetts. That's how bad it is in Illinois. Lake County Gazette, one of the papers I started reporting, that built the headquarters, did Takeda, in Deerfield in 2008, paid $63 million to build it starting in 2006, the 70-acre site that they're on. And during that time, 10 years of operation here, they paid $22 million in property taxes. Now, they did get state tax credits. This was Blagojevich's biggest tax credit deal. $15 million in state tax credits to guarantee 500 jobs at the time, which went to 1,700, and now a decade later has gone to zero.
Yeah, so a couple of things are going on here. Obviously, the property taxes and the costs here are driving them out. Although, you know, Boston is not, in the Boston area, is not an inexpensive or easy place to live. It's a major metropolitan city.
Exactly, that's the indictment.
Right, that's the indictment. And we have all the, you know, university talent, and Chicago is a draw just like Boston is. It's the confluence, Dan, of the rising property taxes and then the EDGE credits, right? So instead of having EDGE tax credits and giving out corporate welfare, what we should be doing is providing an economic benefit and an economic circumstance so everybody can do well, not just a big employer who employs 1,000 people. If you gave sort of these advantages, low taxes, to the small businesses that support and employ the vast majority of the workers in Illinois, then we could really, really grow. And so what you have here is an indictment in two senses. You're taxing through property tax, you're taxing the hell out of this company, and so they decide to leave, but then you abated their tax. What are the companies who don't qualify for an EDGE tax credit going to do? They're getting hammered on property taxes. So if this group who got subsidized is going to leave, what about all the companies that aren't subsidized? What are they going to do as their property taxes go up?
Well, here's the other thing. It also is a poignant reminder or educational instance that this rent-seeking game that is played and matched by the government, it doesn't work long-term. You have to have a structural low-tax environment because $15 million in tax credits up front, it only takes you so far. And then it doesn't make sense to be here anymore with the highest property taxes in the nation that are cutting into your home equity, or if you're a business, cutting into your profit margins, your ability to make an extra buck, to hire an extra employee, to open an extra facility. It was interesting, the response from this stone-ass idiot who is a state senator from the representing Deerfield, representing in quotation marks. Her name's Julie Morrison. I mean, if she was any dumber, she wouldn't be walking upright. I'm so disappointed that Takeda is leaving. I'm even more disappointed the Rauner administration did nothing to prevent these job losses. It's Bruce Rauner's fault. Bruce Rauner is responsible for a lot of things, and done and not done. This really isn't one of them, other than the fact that he has just extended on this approach to business climate in this state. Julie Morrison, I mean, it is remarkable. We were talking with Jay Kinsler and comparing Jay Kinsler doing kidney transplants and National Guard service to Deb Conroy sitting around waiting for Madigan to send out mailers for her. The contrast between Julie Morrison and her opponent, Barrett Davy. Julie Morrison has never seen a tax increase she didn't like. Julie Morrison hasn't had a cogent thought in her entirety certainly of public service. That's only what I know. What I surmise is life. And she's running against Barrett Davy. Now, there was a chance 6 years ago. Ari Friedman, I mean, here we go again, pediatrician, father of 42 kids.
Navy pilot.
Yeah, or chopper pilot.
Chopper pilot. Yeah.
No, he's not good enough. Now you got Barrett Davy running against her against the backdrop of this major pharmaceutical company pulling up stakes and leaving. And he's actually an entrepreneur and a job creator and somebody who understands what a proper business climate should look like. So there's a choice again. And I don't know if the residents of Deerfield and the rest of the district are going to wake up, or the ones that are paying attention will go knock on their neighbor's door and slap some common sense into them. But I mean, it's kind of one of these things. If this instance, this event, against the backdrop of this choice, doesn't galvanize people to chart a different course locally with the prospect of doing so statewide, then I'm at a loss.
Well, and I bet you the last time that Julie Morrison was with an executive of Takeda Corporation was at the ribbon cutting. Because that, by the way, that's why the EDGE credits exist, right? They exist to give the upfront money so the politician, like Julie Morrison, can stand in front of the broken ground with a shovel and a helmet and say, look at what we're doing, we're bringing jobs. And then when those jobs leave, what does she do? Well, she blames whatever the closest Republican is because she's done nothing to help the process in that time frame. And that's the kind of thing that Barrett Davy would resolve up in that area.
You know what's funny, too, is and all these professionals in this upper middle income area, these communities we're talking about, right? And the corridor up 294. I mean, do you know what they think of state legislators like Julie Morrison? Do you know what the executives of Takeda must have thought of her to the extent they had to suffer the indignity of interacting with her? I mean, do you know the people that are voting for the likes of Julie Morrison? They know because they work at a lot of these companies. Do you know how little they think? Do you know how embarrassed they are that there are people like Julie Morrison in a position of policy-making authority?
And you'd think that the electorate up there would get it right, but they're too busy, unfortunately, in many instances, thinking that Donald Trump is icky and Julie Morrison is the opposite. And that's as far as they're willing to think through the problem, while their neighbors are leaving to go to Boston.
Thus, Illinois, the worst governed state in the history of America. And we're going to find out if people continue to seem to find this entertaining and enjoyable.